Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Animation Pilgrimage, where we watch every theatrically released film in order. We are back this week.
Animated film.
Animated film.
I don't... There's too many, otherwise.
Yeah, no. The films that matter, animated ones.
Oh, snap.
So yeah, here we are with another Disney package film, Melody Time.
Like I said last time, I can't take much more of these. But right off the bat, I will say that this one was more bearable than the last one.
I mean, the last one was like one of the worst Disney movies out there, so, you know.
Yeah. So this one is a very similar film to Make Mine Music, where it's actually just a bunch of quite a few musically based shorts. I don't think there was anywhere near as many segments this time around, because this time there was 7. And I guess this one felt more like a attempt at a sequel to Fantasia.
A bit, sometimes. Sort of. Do you want to know what the first, actual intention of this one was?
Sure.
It was all supposed to be American folk hero stories.
Oh, okay.
But only 2 made it in.
I see that.
Yeah.
That might have been more interesting if it was all folk hero stories.
Mm-hmm. But just think, if it had been, we probably would not have the short that's done later by Disney, which is the Paul Bunyan short, which I think is a pretty good short by Disney.
Mm-hmm.
That's done in the 50s, I think. And then later on, there's another one that was just done recently about John Henry?
Yes, that's his name.
John Henry. And that short's amazing.
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly on that.
And I don't... just putting it out there, I don't think this Disney team of old could have done the same amazing work that new Disney team of now could have done on John Henry.
I agree wholeheartedly, and it's probably mostly because,
it's culture reason less than a talent reason.
Yeah, because,
Anyway.
Systemic racism. Anyways.
To add, I guess, a bit more context to this film and these films in general, this is probably, one of the lowest points for the company in general.
The
company is pretty much in the red at this point. Disney has had to make a lot of layoffs. People included in those layoffs have been Fred Moore.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Who, was fired, I think, in 46. So even, I think, before Bongo and Mickey and the Beanstalk in Fun and Fancy Free was released. But yeah, so... a lot has been changing in the Disney studio, and the because all of these package films are so small budget, Disney isn't really the same Disney it used to be. They're still trying to find their niche and where they're supposed to be. They kind of backlashed against themselves with how realistic Bambi had been, and so they went super cartoony
for a really long time, and I think that was a not wise choice. But, that's where we are.
Mm-hmm. Well, and as a final bit of trivia for this film, the budget for this film was close to $2 million. Which
I'm gonna say that was low?
It's pretty high, because...
Pretty high?
It only earned back about 1.5 million.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this film really didn't do that well.
Fun stuff.
Mm-hmm. The last success that they had was Song of the South. And Song of the South had mixed success, like we talked about before.
Controversy.
Yep.
Systemic racism. Cough, cough.
Anyway.
Let's not talk about that until it becomes relevant.
So let's get into the segments on this one. Because
Yeah.
I honestly don't have a whole lot to say about this. I think you mentioned earlier, like, the shorts in this are generally...
more palatable.
Right. Like, they're generally all okay. But I don't feel like any of them really stand out either.
I agree. All of these are perfectly fine segments, but none of them are amazing segments. Well, okay, some of them are still worse than others.
Yeah.
But I can't...
But they're more so worse just because we have a personal, like, not my thing.
Yeah. But yeah, it's like I couldn't tell you which of these 7 segments I liked the best. Because, I honestly didn't like any of them.
Yeah, there's not one of them that I was like, oh man, yeah, this one was awesome.
But okay, we've wasted enough time. Let's actually talk about these segments now.
Yeah.
So, the film starts with Once Upon a Winter Time.
Luckily, there's no bookends to try and tie all this together like there was in Fun and Fancy Free, so it's literally just segments strung together.
Mm-hmm, which was like what they did in Make Mine Music. Mm-hmm. So it's just a segment. They'll have like an announcer guy that comes on and like introduces the next piece and like who's like performing
Singing,
in it and
yeah.
stuff, and then we get right into it. Mm-hmm. This is about just a couple of young people in the...
Did you announce the name of the short?
Yeah, I said it.
Okay.
Once Upon a Winter Time.
Okay.
For Tennille. Once Upon a Winter Time a second time.
All right. We're good.
So, it's about a couple of young lovers, I would assume in like the late 1800s?
Maybe.
I don't know.
Definitely had that, like...
horse-drawn carriage.
Yeah.
There's not like... old. Old in time. Technology was not really a thing yet. The riding in a horse-drawn carriage, and holy crap, I just want to say, first and foremost, these horses' necks are insane. And this is coming off of watching The Humpbacked Horse
Right.
and The Lost Letter from Russia, where they do exaggerated horses as well, but these horses are just like, whoa. Guys. That horse's neck is longer than its entire body.
While I do find this whole section very aesthetically pleasing, and I like the art direction, even the long neck horses, like, they've got a charm to them.
Yeah,
they look really elegant.
They're
fit not as elegant and beautiful to watch as the ones we just saw in Russia. I will say that.
But yes,
like,
the art direction in this one is very charming. I will say that. That's the best part of this segment.
The story...
Dumb.
The song...
Forgettable.
Like, I don't even remember the song.
I was gonna try to sing it, but I can't. I have no idea. I can't.
Yeah, it's like, I know they're singing.
Just watch this.
I know they're singing, but I cannot remember.
Needless to say, that part did not stick with us. But it's like these two young lovers and they go skating, and then, oh no, there's the fight or something.
They have some argument because...
Dumb spat because he, like, got snow all over her. So
Is that what happened?
Yeah.
Okay.
So
I
she
forgot
walks off.
Already. It's really stupid.
So she walks off and walks onto thin ice, which then leads to a waterfall, because of course it does. They always do. And ultimately the guy does nothing.
Okay.
And it's the horses that save the day.
2 female horses.
Yes, because they're mares.
They're mares.
Chestnut mares.
I wanted to point that out because, man, does this... Like, the whole thing, the girl is just constantly being made fun of by the camera and by the guy. Mm-hmm. You know, and she's...
And he's just stupid dick.
Right. Like, they're not horrible by any means. It's just kind of like that base layer of sexism and, like, really tropey stereotyping storytelling that's
Dumb
just
stuff.
like,
But
this might have been cute, 50 years ago, but
today it's just like,
I'm so tired of
over it.
this.
But yeah, ultimately it's the animals that save the day. Mainly the two mares, the two long-necked horses, pull her to safety, and
Yeah, and the
then
guy does nothing.
the guy gets
gets all the credit, yes.
And I guess we should also mention at the same time, there's
just like it is in real life.
Yeah. There's a constant animal analogy going on with a male and a female rabbit doing the exact same things.
Right.
Which was pointless.
They could have been cut out.
Yeah, it's like, we did not need both of these. It just padded it out, and doing the exact same thing twice is boring.
Right.
So, yeah, not a big fan of this one.
It is very pretty, though, so I'll give it that.
It's like, yeah, aesthetically pleasing, but nothing really else here. Okay, moving on, we have Bumble Boogie.
You would think I'd really like this one. This one, it's almost got the same vibe as the, like, When You're Gone. The fast editing, the crazy movement, it's all to the song.
But it's slower, clunkier, and it's Flight of the Bumblebee, which I just don't care about. Oh, wait, no, it's not even Flight of the Bumblebee. It is off-brand Flight of the Bumblebee.
Yeah.
So it's
a remix of Flight of the Bumblebee.
Oh, God. So, yeah, it stars this weird-looking bee, and he's fighting pianos. And, I don't know, there's not much to this segment, and I don't have much to say about it.
Like I said, I like the concept of it. I'm just not a terribly big fan of the execution, because a lot of times, with When You're Gone, the editing and the animation and stuff all hit the beat so well.
Yeah.
And with this one, it's such a famous song, and yet there are plenty of times where it's like, stuff is happening, but I don't know exactly which part of the beat it's
supposed to be
happening on.
Yeah.
So, like, that's kind of where the clunkiness factor comes in.
Yeah, just comparing this to When You're Gone from Make Mine Music, I would rather just watch that segment again.
Yeah.
Over this one any day. And that's probably this one's biggest crime, is it's just not as enjoyable as its predecessor. Alright, the next segment is one of our actually larger segments of the film. The Legend of Johnny Appleseed.
Oh, the Lord's been good to me, and so I thank the Lord. The Lord for giving me the things I need, the sun and the rain and the apple seed. Okay.
So, yeah, it's the story of Johnny Appleseed. In case you don't know this.
Granted, we might know this one better just because Johnny Appleseed is more of a folk hero from our area.
Yeah, a Midwest America folk hero of this guy that just kind of wandered around and planted a fuck ton of apple seeds everywhere.
I mean, and he's still celebrated in our area pretty strongly. Like, I know in Fort Wayne they have, like, the Johnny Appleseed Festival every year.
Yeah, like, where you just go and there's
knickknacks to buy.
You buy knickknacks and
apple stuff.
And eat a lot of apple products.
Yep. Which, I mean, is also part of the short, is that you can... There's so many things you can make out of apples. The one thing that confuses me about this short, and I feel like they should have done a better job illustrating, and I don't know, maybe this is just me, is that they say that Johnny Appleseed leaves his home because he wants to help the people traveling out west by planting apple seeds.
And yet he doesn't go out west. He actually stays in the Midwest, pretty much only getting to like Ohio and Indiana segments, maybe a little bit into Illinois.
Yeah.
But that's as far as he gets. He doesn't get very far west.
Right.
He doesn't go out into the middle of the desert and
plant apple trees.
Plant apple trees. Here you go, Roadrunners. Eat these apple seeds.
Well, I mean, it's probably a good thing he didn't get out west, because, I mean, like, you know, if it's folks traveling the Oregon Trail, if he would have got to Oregon, I don't know, but I don't think Oregon's very suitable land for apple trees.
I don't know. As far as I know, it's just really wet.
I don't know if Oregon's good. I mean, if you're from Oregon, you could say I'm totally wrong, but I don't think Oregon's good for planting much.
You know,
which I think the settlers kind of realized after they moved to Oregon. We're like, fuck.
Yeah, I don't know much about Oregon, but what I do know is I'm pretty sure it's just kind of wet and gray most of the time.
Maybe it's just all the bad pioneer stories we've been...
Well, I've been to Oregon.
Oh, have you?
And it was wet and gray the entire time we were there.
You didn't see cornfields everywhere?
No. I mean, we were visiting farming relatives while we were there. So there is farming out there.
Right.
But other than that, the only experience I've had with Oregon is, unfortunately, through reading the Twilight series, which takes place in Oregon.
Yeah. I forgot about that.
For convenient plot reasons, because it's always wet and rainy and overcast there.
God, that's something we don't need to talk about. Anyway, Johnny Appleseed.
Wow, that was a tangent.
This is how little we have to talk about.
We started talking about Twilight.
Oh, God.
Over Johnny Appleseed. And it's like, cool, we learned the story of Johnny Appleseed. Let's chop down the great American forest and put apples everywhere, which, as far as we know, aren't actually that great for soil.
I think.
Which, I feel like I've heard that before.
Yeah.
So, good for him, Bible-thumping Christian man, spreading the word of Jesus.
Jesus.
And apples.
Jesus and apples. I mean, I think this is one of the nicer of the shorts. I think
it's probably
I don't
most
wanna,
harmless.
Yeah, I don't want to like make fun of this, because I think, you know, this is a very decent short. I like the premise of it. I really do enjoy the Disney Americana folk hero shorts. I think they're a lot of fun in their own right. But it's just... This one's just fine. This is not one that I've watched multiple times.
Yeah. I mean, again, this one has a very cute art style.
Yeah, like I said, I do really like the character design on Johnny Appleseed himself. And his little, like, his guardian angel or whatever is kind of funny.
It's like...
Funny in a stupid way.
Yeah. It's like, the only weird thing was, like, the Native Americans at near the end, who were totally okay with all the settlers and doing their hokey dances and shit.
The reason they're all okay. The reason they're all okay with everything is because Johnny Appleseed brought them together through apples.
I don't think that's how it went down in actual history.
Yeah, but I mean, if we're gonna, this is the weird
this is
fine
the problem
line.
why I can't fully enjoy this one. Just knowing that this is a very happy version of
But
history.
that's what Disney does, and it's like they always have like. I enjoy what you're trying to do, Disney, but sometimes I don't think
you thought all the way around everything.
Yeah.
And this will come up more later.
Later.
In this review.
Yeah.
Let's just move on.
Okay.
Okay, the next short is bad.
It's like the little plane one again.
Yeah,
but with a boat. It's Little Toot.
Little Toot. It's about a tugboat, except it's a little boy and he's a little piece of shit.
Yeah.
You know, I've never actually seen this short before we watched it just now.
Oh, really? Yeah, you said you haven't seen this movie.
Yeah, I hadn't seen this movie, but I have read the Golden Books.
Golden Books.
Yeah, the Golden Books version of this story. So I've seen these terrible character designs. I'm gonna let anyone out there know right now that I am not a fan of any sort of vehicle, whether it be plane, truck, car, boat, train. Any of those. I am not okay with putting human faces on them. I think it looks ugly, terrible, bad, and awful, and everything that involves those things I cannot get into. Mm-hmm. I'm looking at you, Thomas the Tank Engine people. Specifically at you. There's a lot of them. Thomas the Tank Engine is honestly on the more okay side, but I just can't.
Yeah. It's creepy looking to me too.
Mm-hmm.
Not my aesthetic.
It's like,
but apparently it's a lot of people do like it, so good on you, but
good
yeah,
for
it's
you
not
guys. I much prefer,
not mine.
It's like, while I don't like the Cars series, I much prefer them doing something like that, where it's a lot, it's not just a straight human face, okay?
Right. It's just like eyes and the mouth, and if you like, even if I look at like Cars character's mouth for too long, I start to get weirded out. You know?
Yeah, it's just like, oh, what's going?
Wait, is it like fleshy or is it like metal? How is it so malleable? Oh.
We keep getting distracted.
There's not much to talk about.
But yeah, it's about a little obnoxious tugboat, Little Toot, who takes an ocean liner and slams it into the city because he's terrible at his job.
This whole short just kind of screams, "Oh, boys will be boys."
And I'm not okay with that sentiment.
Yeah.
And sure, at the end he finally helps and saves a different liner, and good for him, but whatever. I've already lost interest long before that part came along.
Well, it's just like, he's a boys will be boys, and, he's causing trouble, but it's okay because everything gets handed to him on a silver platter at the end because he kind of tries to do something good for once. And it's sure, whatever.
No.
Maybe we were just in a bad mood to watch this film, but I don't know. I just... The sentiment in all of this just feels false, It doesn't feel genuine.
Yeah. In this short specifically, or all of it?
All of it. I mean, I think Johnny Appleseed and the other folk hero story, I think those two feel fairly genuine.
Yes.
The rest of these just kind of...
Yeah, most of these just feel very half-assed, and then we get to the folk sections where they feel like they actually have a lot of charm and personality, but then there's other issues. But we'll get to that later. Moving on, we're on to the halfway point, or no, Little Toot was the halfway point.
Yeah.
All right, we're moving into the second half with another short segment called Trees.
This is a very short segment.
It's a very short segment where it's literally people just singing a poem about trees, wherein the writer of the tree poem sounds like he just really wants to have sex with a tree. I'm just going to say it.
You were sitting there, and as it wrapped up, you're like, just have sex with the tree already.
Just do it. Other than that, this one just has like pretty depictions of trees and other pretty depictions of trees, and then other pretty depictions of trees. It's really
I feel like
boring.
we're being so negative, but
I didn't like this one.
I know. I'm gonna try and spin this positive again. The trees are really pretty. The art is pretty.
But it's just trees.
The lighting they do, where it's like the warm on top and the cool on bottom.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool. I really liked that shot.
Mm-hmm. Not to keep complaining. But I'm kind of going to complain a little bit more. Just about something that I have against a lot of these older films. Mm-hmm. And it's nothing wrong with the films itself. It is just a personal preference of mine. Mm-hmm. I have never been a big fan of the orchestral singing of everything all the time. Like this one where they're literally just like 10 people singing the poem together at the same time in beat, so it's just a mishmash of everyone screaming the song.
Right. I mean,
I know this was the aesthetic at the time, but
right. Well, and I get the vibe that they're going for. They're going for an animated concert kind of vibe. And I think that's a cool idea, but without actually watching the performance of any of the actors and singers and stuff, you're only getting half of the story.
Honestly, yeah. If this was like an actual like
concert that you went
theater
to,
piece where
like this overhead screen played the animation and below them was like the orchestra and
the orchestra playing with like any singers that would come out and actually sing like to the side of the screen, that would be an awesome multimedia way to experience this film.
Yeah.
I think that would work very well.
It's a brand new multimedia event.
Yeah. Okay. Give that one time.
You know what I'm referencing.
Oh, I know exactly what you're referencing. I know that you're referencing...
It's a slide projection on a bed sheet.
I'm sure most of the audience who grew up with that also knows what you're talking about now. And if you know what we're talking about, say so. I'm just going to leave it blank for everyone else, though. We'll get to that in, like, the 2000s, Tennille. We are a long way.
I know, we're a long way from that. But, yeah, I mean, I think that would have, like, a cooler effect or, like, leave a bigger impression on us than just the movie by itself.
Yes, I agree wholeheartedly. Moving on to our penultimate. Is that the correct term? Penultimate? Is that, like, the second from final?
Sure.
I don't know. Moving on to this second to last, Blame It on the Samba.
It's so close.
It's so close.
I'm so close to really liking this one.
So just so you know, this is another... We go back to Brazil, and we have Donald Duck and Joe Carioca.
Yay!
And they don't act like they're characters at all.
They don't say a word.
They don't say a word. It's all the stupid... bird, the obnoxious bird. That thing is back, and this short is just him screwing with Donald and Jose with a really calm samba. Honestly, this is like such a tame, boring samba compared to what we saw in either Three Caballeros or Saludos Amigos. So it's just... Well, it leaves me wishing we had better.
It starts off really promising. Joe and Donald like come on screen and they're all blue and they're like depressed looking. And they come into this menu
It's like a menu.
It's a menu that's also a restaurant.
Because it's like a...
It's surreal. I understand the concept of it, but it's hard to explain. It's one of those things where it's like, when I say it out loud, I'm like, wait, what? What am I saying? Anyway, and then the samba starts because the bird starts it up, and so they start to gain their color back, and then they're dancing.
And then he mixes them into a drink and throws them into the drink,
And then live action woman is there, who I think was the same live action woman from Three Caballeros.
I feel there's a very good chance.
And then suddenly she's there, and I'm like, oh, this is suddenly worse now.
Honestly, this whole segment just reminded me of a Don Bluth segment, actually.
It does have a Don Bluth feel to it, doesn't it?
Don Bluth, I don't know if he took this specifically or just had the same idea.
Mm-hmm.
But I know in one of his 2 games, I don't think it was the night.
The Dragon's Lair?
I don't think it was Dragon's Lair. I think it was the sequel one.
Space Ace?
Space Ace. I'm bad with these names. I believe it was in Space Ace. There was a weird scene with like a giant cat pounding away on a keyboard, and you're like jumping around into surrealism. Very similar to this scene.
Where Elton John is like playing piano as like the keys are going everywhere.
Yeah. Like that's going on. And that just watching this just reminded me of that segment. So it makes me wonder if Don Bluth got the inspiration for that from here.
Maybe.
I don't know. Because
they seem only like tangentially related though. Another thing about this movie in general, and not necessarily anything with this segment, because I don't know if I remember there being any reused animation in this segment, but as a general rule, this movie used a lot of reused animation.
Yeah, it's like they'll show something, and then not 5 seconds later, they'll show the exact same thing again. Mm-hmm. I saw this a lot in Little Toot specifically.
Yeah. I mean, and
Little Toot had a lot of insane water effects.
Yeah.
So that kind of makes sense.
They're getting the bang for their buck by reusing animation, which was not a frowned upon practice back then, I want to say. But nowadays, since, you can own physical copies of these and literally, like, look frame by frame and go, yeah, this is reused animation, it does definitely lose its charm.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I know we didn't talk much about the Samba piece, but there's not a lot to talk about it, because unfortunately, Donald and Joe don't speak, and they only vaguely act like themselves.
Right, they're just kind of there as cameo characters.
Cameo characters for the stupid bird to go
And
nuts.
I'm so sad that Panchito's not there with them.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yay! Joe and Donald, why is the bird here and not Panchito?
Yeah. I would have much preferred another just crazy romp with those 3 for just a bit instead of the stupid bird again.
Yeah.
Because it's a dumb bird, it's obnoxious, and I don't like it.
I'm guessing the bird was popular, though.
I mean,
and I think,
why else would they bring it back?
I think he was a character Ward Kimball animated, and I think Ward really enjoyed animating him. So.
Okay.
Ward really, like, exploded in this time period of films because they're so cartoony, and Ward is known for his more cartoonier stuff. When we get into later films, he'll be the one doing both Lucifer and the Cheshire Cat.
Oh, yeah.
And I think he does the crocodile in Peter Pan.
Okay. Yeah, he gets a lot of the more exaggerated animal characters. That's cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
anyway, let's talk about our last piece.
Let's talk about the last one. I feel conflicted.
This is like probably my favorite one, but
also the most problematic.
But also probably because it is the most problematic, so it's the most interesting to talk about.
So it's Pecos Bill.
Yeah, Pecos Bill. I think this one actually,
Pecos Bill.
I think in some DVD releases or like physical releases of this cartoon was censored or just completely cut out.
Yeah, I know that for a fact. I know that this segment has been either cut or large swaths of it have been cut. Because it is, let's see, racially insensitive, not showing images that are not okay for children nowadays, just because of, like, television laws and stuff like that.
Bill smokes a lot.
He straight up rolls a cigarette
With his tongue.
with his tongue on screen and lights it up.
Yep.
That's not okay nowadays. You can't show cartoon characters smoking in a kid's movie.
Let alone making their own cigarette.
Yeah. He also excessively shoots his guns. Like, nearly non-stop when he is an adult, he is shooting his guns.
I mean, the animation of this is so much fun.
Oh my god, yes.
But you just look at it and you're like, oh my god.
Oh my god. This was obviously a lot of fun to work on. And
but I mean,
if you turn your brain off and not think about any of the repercussions of what is going on screen,
he's like
it's
Yosemite Sam, just like he's like flying because he's shooting his guns so fast.
There's one point where he's scooting along on a river, sitting in his hat with the horse on his back, and he is propelling them along with his guns. That's how stupidly silly this is.
But it's so stupid and silly. Like, I can't get mad at it, and yet at the same time, it's just like the images that you're putting on my eye holes is just like,
this
why,
is not
Disney?
okay.
Why did you do this?
There's also a very insensitive section with a bunch of Native Americans doing a war paint dance, and Pecos Bill decides to just run in and shoot the crap out of them, just for fun.
He's shooting them up for fun, but that's how we get the painted canyons, Sean.
No, it's not.
But you know...
Fuck you, white people, that's not how it happened. That's kind of my biggest issue with a lot of American tall tales.
Right, it's just like, look, we made America. Like,
look,
we literally...
White people did everything.
Like, we literally dug the Grand Canyon, which is like the Paul Bunyan one, is like... Is it that he dragged his axe...
in the ground and, like, it made a big...
Yeah.
Or something.
Yeah, it's like, that's the rumor there. And then another one is like him and Babe are fighting and like tossing and stuff, and so they made the mountains.
Yeah, and just all of that stuff is just like, no.
Y'all need to chill out. With
White people did not do any of that shit.
Oh, but it's fun, even though it's so stupid.
It's very problematic.
Very problematic.
Again, if you turn your mind off, there's some fantastic animation in this segment.
Oh yeah,
like this whole segment is animated so well. And then there's overly sexy Slewfoot Sue.
I love just Slewfoot Sue. Right up until the end, you know.
Yeah, and then she's like, I gotta have my bonnet. What is it?
I don't remember what it's called.
But
it's it's those big metal things lady used to put on their butts.
So they look like they got dead ass.
Yeah, so that their dress poofs out.
So they have a butt.
Yeah. And she wanted to ride Widowmaker.
God.
Pecos Bill's horse, Widowmaker.
I don't feel like they ever told the story of why Widowmaker is called Widowmaker.
Probably not.
I'm assuming it's something to do with these guild people that have tried to write him or something.
Maybe.
Making widows.
Yeah.
But either way. But that's one of the things.
It's self-explanatory.
Yeah, but they said they were going to explain what happened, why he's called Widowmaker, but then they never do.
Did they?
Yes.
Did they by the way.
We should say, this one actually opens and closes. This segment specifically opens and closes with a live-action segment.
But Disney learned it's at least a crowded scene where there are multiple children and multiple adults in the same spot.
Yes. And if you notice, both of the children that are talking roles in this are the exact same children from
Song of the South.
Song of the South. The wimpy boy character who's still a shitty little shit. And
ew, girls!
Oh, this has a woman in it. It's like,
my
oh, I
gosh.
hate you. And also the girl that he kind of has a thing with or whatever
Yeah.
from that one.
Song of the South. Yeah. Yeah, and so they're the ones telling the legends.
Mm-hmm.
How Pecos Bill was raised by coyote. Well, the whole point of the story is that they're saying why the coyote howls at the moon.
It's because Pecos Bill howls at the moon, naked, sitting atop his horse. Apparently.
There you go. There's an image for you, kids.
I mean, at
They
the
do
end,
show a shot of him not him taking off his clothes, but his clothes.
There's his
and
tracks.
his saddle and everything.
there's his
Just-
tracks of him and his horse walking away, and then there's his guns and all of his clothes and the horse's saddle and everything, and then barefoot walking away. It's just like, okay, so he's naked?
riding it. This has suddenly become that Daniel Radcliffe movie or the play where Daniel Radcliffe's riding naked on the horse.
Oh no. Oh no.
Yeah, because he's sad because Slewfoot Sue bounced
to the
all the
moon.
way to the moon because she tried to ride Widowmaker.
And Widowmaker is a jealous bitch.
Pretty much. Yeah.
Widowmaker's like, no, he's my man.
He's my man.
My man.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this was,
Melody Time.
that's the name of it.
Yeah, I hate that both of these are so similar in concept, and one is called Make Mine Music and Melody Time. It's like, Make Mine Melody Time.
Music.
It doesn't,
Make mine melody music time.
Melody Music Make Mine Time.
Make time for mine melody music. Okay. So needless to say, we didn't care for this one that much. If you're genuinely curious about a couple of these segments, maybe look them up, but most of them are probably fairly passable.
Skippable. Passable would mean you should watch it.
I mean, they're passable animation-wise, but they are definitely skippable in this journey.
I mean, in general, I think the animation here is more akin to Make Mine Music and is better than in Fun and Fancy Free.
Yeah.
Especially Bongo.
Yeah. Well, Bongo was just... I don't know what happened in Bongo, but something happened in Bongo and it was not good.
Nobody was looking at their animations before they went out.
Either way, I think that's enough for this one. So, Tennille, what is up next on our journey through animation history? On our pilgrimage, not out west, but through time and space. I am not stretching for time as Tennille looks up the answer.
Well, you see, Sean, I know it right off the top of my head. I don't need to look it up.
Oh, of course not. That is why you are still right here, right next to the mic, and
Yep.
not off looking at information on some other computer.
Totally.
No.
You see, I'm just having trouble with the name here.
Mhm.
It is, oh shoot, I've got to look up whether we can actually watch these films or not.
Oh,
So, Sean, we have 4 possibilities of films we could be watching next.
okay. So, what's the first one?
Alegres Vacaciones, which is a Spanish film in 1948.
Okay.
Another 1948 film, Water for Firefighting.
Let me guess, it's British.
It is another UK instructional video.
Is this a sequel to
Handling Ships?
Handling Ships
I mean, probably in spirit, yes.
in Spirit? Unfortunately, we haven't seen that one yet either.
No. And then the one after that is a 1949 film called The Emperor's Nightingale, which is from Czechoslovakia.
Oh, check.
Yeah.
Cool.
And if I can't find either three of those, we will be going right to The Adventures of Ichabod and Mr. Toad.
From
Disney.
Disney again.
Yes.
And is that 1948?
No,
is
that's
that 49?
1949.
Okay. All right, so there's a big variety of what we might be watching next time.
Mm-hmm.
So tune in and find out what the surprise is.
The Lord is good to me, and so I thank the Lord for giving me the things I need, the sun and rain and an apple seed. Yes, He's been good to me.